Hello, my name is Sewon, and welcome to my important learning final project presentation. Before we get started, let me tell you a story. When Michelangelo was painting the 600 square meter ceiling of the Sinatra Chapel, a friend asked him this question: Why work so hard painting figures in such a dark corner where no one can see them clearly? Who'll even know about it? Michelangelo's answer was simple and clear: I know. What do you think drives passion? To me, the engine that drives passion is not external, but internal. It is not a conclusion reached rationally through money, fame, or the avoidance of punishments, but a force that moves from the heart. I believe passion is irrational, follows meaning rather than profit and loss, and happens in the burning hot rather than the calculating brain. For me, passion has always been personal, hot, and burning. Through this empowered presentation on passion, I'd like to introduce you to the most intense passion and dream that I personally hold. That is to create a board game with an evolutionary biology theme, right here at Tej University. Let's listen to the background of this passion for a moment. Moving into middle school, I happened to read Richard Dawkins' The Selfish Gene. As soon as I read that book, I fell deeply into evolutionary biology. You might ask, why? Throughout my life, in my personal statements for Tej University and various school records, I added plausible reasons like I want to explain society through evolutionary biology, or I want to find the origins of humanity. But to be honest with you here today, I fell into instinctively, without any grandiose reasons, just like there is no such reasons for love. Entering high school, I wanted to actually apply the laws of evolutionary biology I learned in books. So I conducted fruit fly experiments for 3 years. Since the high school had no proper lab equipment to support this experiment other than a microscope and anesthesia tools, I collected data by distinguishing generations from the eggs the fruit fly laid, counting the numbers of flies one by one, and checking eye colors individually with a magnifying glass. It was grueling work that some might call foolish, but I wasn't tired. I wrote 4 reports in the form of small theses on fruit flies, pouring my passion into everything from testing simple Mendelian laws of inheritance to making my own culture media for experiments on apoptotic specification over those 3 years. Just as my passion for evolutionary biology was reaching its peak, I encountered another artifact of culture. It was board game. To me, a board game was not just a pastime, but like a piece of art. The intricate strategies, beautiful artwork, and immersive themes melted within it. I started collecting board games one by one, and over the course of a year, I collected about 50 of them. Stories and laughter of my family and friends seeped into each board games box. Naturally, a thought occurred to me. I really want to make a board game myself. With what theme? Of course, evolutionary biology. The two passions that had the biggest influence on my for nearly 4 years, science and games, came to me in a combined form. The thought of making a board game theme around evolutionary biology was a vague dream I had ever before entering Tej University. But after through the imparted learning class, the vague passion is now becoming a concrete reality. To realize that goal, the first thing I had to do was decide which principles of evolutionary biology would be the core of the game. Referring Hong's study, I selected 4 principles that form the core of modern evolutionary biology and implemented them into actual gameplay. So let me explain specifically how this works. First is natural selection. Theoretically, it means individuals adapted to the environment survive. In the game, that is implemented as a fierce resource management strategy. Players must complete for limited food tokens. For example, when an Ice Age environment card is revealed, players who haven't evolved a thick forward trait card beforehand lose their population. This requires players to have a long-term perspective, seeking future survival rather than immediate gain. And second is coevolution. This is the principle that a change in one species leads to a change in another. In the game, this appears as interaction between players. So if the players next to me evolves in a predator like a Chief and increases speed, as a Hypervolve must develop camouflage or evolve faster legs to survive. It creates a tension where you cannot win by doing well alone. You must constantly be aware of your opponents. Third is sexual selection. This involves traits that are selected because they increase mating success, even if they aren't related to survival. In the game, this is implemented as a high risk, high return option. Having fleshy feeders scores high mating points, but the probability of being spotted by predators also increases. Players must be bold bets in the dilemma between safe survival and risky but flashy reproduction. And lastly, fourth is natural evolution. This refers to genetic changes caused by chance. This handles the unpredictable variables in the game. No matter how perfect a strategy we've devised, the situation can be overturned by a dice roll or a single mutation card. This sublimates the scientific fact that evolution does not always flow in the optional direction into the game's fun element of luck. Lee started that games are more immersive and educational when strategy and chance are balanced. These four principles completed that very balance and became the core pillars of my board game. This project is not just an assignment to make a game and be done with it. This passion will send deep ripples through my future career, my attitude toward life. First, in terms of career, I'm cultivating the qualities of a science communicator through this process. The process of translating complex and rigid evolutionary biology theories into a popular language, a board game, is exactly the image of the science communicating with the word that I dreamed of. Above all, I think the most important impact is something else. As I mentioned earlier, passion is irrational. It is inefficient to walk this difficult path when I have plenty of other assignments to do. However, this experience of falling deeply into something so irrational and recklessly will become an important blueprint for my life. Whether I go out into societies to start a business, do research, or challenge myself into a completely new field, I will remember the temperature of this immersion I feel now. The realization, ah, I am a person who can be this hot. This project will serve as a benchmark for judging what true passion is an everyday challenge I face in the future. This might be the greatest gift this project gives me. Finally, I will tell you my concrete plan to turn this passion into reality. In the short term, while attending Tej University, I plan to recruit team members who work on artwork to improve visual completeness and receive publishing mentoring through school connections. Based on the completed prototype, my goal is to produce a playable demo version within 2 years and present it to fellow students. But my plan does not stop at graduation. In the long term, after graduating from Tech University, I will launch this project on the crowdfunding platform Kickstarter. I will receive cold-hearted feedback from board gamers around the world to refine the project, and ultimately, my final version is for this game to go beyond simple entertainment and establish itself as an educational gamification tool used in science museums or biology classes in schools. I haven't formed an art team yet, nor have I signed a publishing contract. But like Michelangelo who said, I know. The completed picture is already drawn in my heart. I will not stop and will continue this challenge that is inefficient but therefore more meaningful, and which I will eventually change my life completely. Thank you for listening.